This is how I think.
This is how I think.
This is how I feel.
This is how I feel.
And this is how I do.
This is how I do.
That is our mantra at Farmers of Thought. Correct thinking. Think well. Just simple like that. Think well. Populate your mind with good content. Fill up your brains with good ideas. Don't waste your time. I hate this one. I hate. I don't like. Hey, wait, you're going to die. You deal with them when you're dead. When you're still alive, think positive. Populate your mind with good ideas. Feel good about other people. Feel good about the business environment, the political environment, cultural challenges. See something good in people, in yourself, in your environment. That's the space of your mind. Secondly, develop a good emotional attachment to things. Love good things. There's nothing wrong. Love good things. Many people who are sick, they start getting sick here. They nest wrong emotions. And before they notice it, scientists, they can tell you, you begin excreting all sorts of wrong hormones that cause other problems. Come on, your problem is here. It's not over there on a graph. It's how you feel. Feel well about you. Speak nicely to yourself. Positive self-talk. You can find one of the books that I wrote entitled, So You Want to Be the Master. Before you can master other people, master yourself. So, head space, think well. Heart space, feel well. Head space, do well. Do well. Don't just think about it and feel about it. Do about it. And I think when I come to this conference, I'm excited to notice this is not just an organization where people have been thinking. It's not an organization where they've just been emotional. But finally we are here on the last phase of this organization where we are going to start doing something about Africa-China business relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to become a lecturer for some few moments, a job which I am trained and qualified for. And I want us to go through it very briefly and intensely. You will find the rest of the information in the book entitled African Questions, African Solutions, which I wrote is available on Amazon and all other media platforms. But I want us to look at the DNA. How do you build an empire? How do you build an empire? We are here because other people have built these huge infrastructures that we are looking at. We are coming out of the British oppression and the neo-colonialistic environments where other people have built their empires on us, with us. And we have become slaves in our own homesteads. But there's a science to colonizing people. There's a science to oppressing people. There's a science in building a system which survives years after you are gone. Cecil John Rhodes is dead. David Livingstone is dead. Verwoerd is dead. But the systems that they put in place are still working. How will Africa think of building an empire if we are not thinking of building systems? I'll give you the 7 pillars of those systems. System number 1, how are we going to govern ourselves? Governance is number 1. On governance, we're looking at putting systems of power, regulations, military, security. How do we want to rule ourselves? I'm so glad to say this from China. China does not have as many churches as Africa does. Instead of churches, they have factories. So it's true that you don't need too much Jesus in the system as you need factories. You can't be stupid as an African to come here to fundraise to build a church back home. There's something wrong in your head. You cannot buy a factory and then call members to come and pray for employment when you are in a factory that you have just purchased. You need to understand that spirituality can be practiced best when people have eaten and they are full. When you start off with churches, hoping that you are going to end up with employment, you will all become prayer warriors. It does not work like that. So number one is building and establishing governance systems. And when you are doing that, please benchmark the top 10 most successful countries in the world. Find out what is their recipe and where is Jesus in their picture. Japan, North Korea, China, Europe, and find out Sweden. Find out in terms of their priorities and find out the poorest nations in the world. What are their priorities? Prayers, fasting, conferences, breakthrough conferences. You know what I'm talking about, good people. Don't try to look religious here. Breakthrough, they're always praying. And how do you know that they are really poor when they start importing American evangelists? Then you know they're on steroids now. They have all-night prayers and lots of lights. And this thing, I wish I can run Africa just for 1 week. The first thing, I'll close all the churches and make them into factories and industries. So governance is number one. Next to governance, you need to find out how are you going to deal with the agriculture. Not just agriculture, but agriculture. Agree with our culture. The culture of food. There's no way you can build an empire that is borrowing food from next door. How are you going to feed yourselves? Automatically you go there, we are touching a very sensitive note on GMO foods, the Monsantos, and all these dead foods that the West is dumping onto Africa. And I love China. They are good on organic, indigenous food. Food, not food security, that's for poverty. Food sustainability. Plant food that can sustain itself, that can duplicate and recreate itself. This whole thing of we are sending maize to Africa, we are sending maize, too much diabetes. That food is not food, man. In America, they do maize to feed animals. Then why are they sending it to Africa? And by the way, maize just came to Africa the last 110 years ago. So it's not our staple food. We're our different kind of coin. Let's find those organic indigenous foods, remembering that he who feeds you will rule you. You can't talk too much when the spoon of food is in the hands of another man. You have to be very nice to them because they may just stop giving you food. You need independence when it comes to food. Governance. Number two, agriculture, the culture of food, not just eating food. How is it prepared? How is it powdered? How is it planted? How is it harvested? Why are women putting seeds underneath their tongues before they put them in the ground? What is the DNA of food? And etc. That whole culture has been lost in commercial farming. And I think one of the worst things Africa has done is to commercialize farming and remove women from farming. Because it is women who actually had the DNA of food. Because it is from their hands that families would eat. Number three, education. Don't learn too much about other people. Learn more about yourself. That's how empires are built. Julius Caesar, you see him. Charlemagne, you see him. Genghis Khan, you see him. Anyone who has walked this path and have been able to educate people about themselves, they write their names on the annals of history. You cannot be said you are an empire who is memorizing William Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, no longer it is. Thou sayest, my Lord, will you go hunt? You don't build an empire on borrowed language. Start learning, not about them. Start learning more about yourselves. Education. You can't memorize how many capital cities are in the world, and then that's an examination. And when you have remembered the capital city of Angola, Luanda, the capital city of Kinshasa, Addis Ababa, then you say, oh, you're educated. Like, really? Memorizing capital cities and names of presidents of countries, then you're educated. Come on, you can do better than that. Like a country like Zimbabwe, for example, you have 482 minerals that are underneath your ground, which your students don't know. You're only talking about the first 62. And you go to school, the very stones we're using for throwing on animals, they are rare earth minerals, and we still don't know. And all of us have been to school, even hiding in China here, when your grandmother's field is sitting on top of a uranium mine that you don't know.